Kia ora and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
And I'm Harry. And today we have what is arguably the most controversial BMW M5 of all time.
That's right. It's the 7th generation PHEV M5 that's not only just electric, it's electrifying. Come, let's take a look at this. Now, seriously, I can't believe that the M5 is 4 decades old. 40 years. Makes me feel so old. And I really am. Anyway, let's get the controversy out of the way first. Going electric has meant that the glorious M5 has now got 600 basically kilos of extra weight. I mean, I know about extra weight, and 600 kilos is quite hefty. But in all honesty, when you drive it, look, I think it just negates the whole thing. But there is a controversy around it, but we'll see if we can show you why that isn't really an issue. The M5 is really an all things to everybody. It's a big sedan. It's got 4 seats. It's got plenty of space, but also it's got the ferocity that really go to the track, race all day, and then drive home in, relative luxury and take the whole family to vomit inside of the car as you're going around the track. It's amazing. And this next one is for this 7th generation, really embraces everything. It's got powerful heart and such great driving dynamics. But anyway, let's look around the front here. What you have is an iconic grille, so this lights up, M5 badging, and also talking about the grille, it is a step different from the sort of M3 that's got the sort of beaver teeth. They've managed to split it to give it a much more of a presence. So you've got a top half and a bottom half, and this bottom half now has a new splitter to it, offering plenty of venting to get into this big powerful engine behind. It really is quite a dominant front, and even has laser lights to make sure that should you be driving at night, you can see everything ahead while still having an iconic glow. How iconic is that? Another little bit of controversy between Harry and I. This model we've got this frozen deep grey, which is a matte finish. He wants more of a brighter green. I actually like this. I like the subtlety of it. It's a bugger to clean with fingerprints everywhere, but I think it really stands out. The other thing that stands out is look at these wheels. We've got 20 inches on the front, 21 inches on the back, and I mean, so much rubber. An Indian would go, wow, look at that. The other thing is the compound brakes to make sure you stop just so well. And honestly, these wheels alone, magnificent. As we move back here, we've got carbon fiber mirror caps, also a carbon fiber roof. So we've gone with that rather than the sort of panoramic roof. You've got flush door handles. You've got extended sills here. Look, it's just magnificent. And as you draw yourself down the back here, an M5 embossed Hofmeister kink, a Hof with M5. So good. Being a sporty sedan, the M5 comes with a boot and also a boot lid with this lovely slither of a carbon fiber spoiler, which obviously offers more downforce. You've also got an M5 badging, so this is a true M5. You've got LED tail lights. We've come with the G90 M5 number plate, which is awesome because I can never remember what the series of numbers are as far as which iteration this is. It's also got plenty of boot space, so you can actually go to the racetrack, then you can go to the golf course and have plenty of stuff in there, or you can have a trunk in there which you can, I don't know, take the person you really dislike in there. And round the rear here, you also have this diffuser or new shaped diffuser, and look at this quad exhaust tips. I think they're 100 mils, so this all goes directly to what's under the bonnet and actually what's on the side as well. So let's go there. Now, behind this flap is what everyone's talking about, because what this provides the electric or AC power to charge the battery, which then goes for the electric motor. But what that does is adds the extra 600 kilos. Anyway, what that also does is gives you around about 60 kilometers of EV only range, which is ideal if you're going to go into those EV only areas like in London and things like that, the downtown, and also helps provide a 1.7 litre per 100 kilometers worth of efficiency. So this is probably the most efficient and most powerful M5 that's been so far. Now, speaking of power, behind it all is this 4.4 litre V8 just brute of an engine, and what that provides once you add it to the electrical motor and the battery and stuff like that is 535 kilowatts of power and 1000 newton meters of torque. That's just epic. And a 0 to 100 time of around about 3.5 seconds, which is 0.1 of a second slower than the previous model, but with xDrive and the amount of weight that's going on, you're not going to notice, especially because it's even got all-wheel steer. It's just epic. Speaking of epic, you've got Harry inside and he'll show you what's going on in there.
That's actually a very good choice of words from Dave, because the interior of the M5 is actually quite epic indeed. So in regular BMW fashion, you now see this new approach that they have taken to many of their new cars, where not only do you see this integration between the two screens, which are just amazing, cutting it short, but also all the nice touches that they have applied to the interior bits of other cars have made their way in here. You see this sort of a layered approach to the dashboard, which in the case of the M5, or this specific M5, has this lovely carbon fiber bit that goes from all the way from the door handles from side to side on the doors. Of course, how can you sort of miss these seats in here? Not only do they look amazing, they have the sort of signature badge that lights up at night, and also they are very supportive. One thing that I'm missing here is the thigh extension, which is sort of a BMW staple that didn't make its way to the M5, but you get cooling, you get heating, and all the other bits with the memory settings and all of that. When talking about the center console, no longer do you have that two-tiered approach from the past M5. Now you get this thing that goes all the way from the armrest storage, which is of a decent amount and opens right here in the middle, then leads all the way to the lovely rotary knob that you use to interact with the tech, and the gear selector that has moved to that one that we have seen in other cars from the brand. You then get a wireless charging and two cup holders in here, sort of taking care of the storage solutions throughout the car. Basically, the experience I got in here is that the M5 is a very spacious super saloon for those out the front, comparable to an M3, maybe slightly more spacious, but where it really wins is on the back side. There is just heaps more room in there, making it for more of a saloon kind of car that is just made for those long journeys and plenty of comfort for all the people that are sitting inside. But one of the things that BMW has been really sort of pushing forward with their cars has to do with the technology, and it would not be different in this case of the M5. So let's have a look at what you have at your disposal in the tech department. So the lovely thing with BMWs is that now that they have taken this very concise implementation to their tech, you've seen one car, you sort of know what to expect from the others as well. So it's a very familiar way of interacting with the menus and with everything that you have at your disposal. So yes, a few of the things here you will see on all the way from the 1 series all the way there to the 7. But of course, this being an M5, you get access to a few things that are reserved to the actual M cars. And let's not forget that this being a PHEV, there will also be all the things that you would usually only see in the EVs from the brand. So as you can see, now I am here in the home screen that has this sort of slanted view that is reserved to the M cars, where you get some lovely bits that have to do with the setup of the car in a very sort of a M fashion. Here you can flick between options that have to do with the instant setup of the car, changing drivetrain, energy recovery, and even the performance of the gearbox. And let me tell you, it is pretty intense. You can change also steering, brake, MX drive, and M sound settings. But then if you really want to take it one step further, you can then go into the M1 and M2 configs, which are accessed very quickly by these two buttons here on the steering wheel. They are a ways of you creating custom modes that you can access very quickly without having to interact with all these things through the screen, which just shows that BMW understands what people will be expecting from a sporty saloon like this. But this is not just the only bits of customization that you can do with the car. If you use the menu that you have at your disposal by the rotary knob, you can also go into specific M modes from road, sport, and then track. Each one of them will allow for more give on the computer to allow for you to have fun. And then if I go back to even for the track mode, if I activate the mode, you will see that it changes a lot of stuff in front of my vision and also the heads-up display, but also it turns this screen to make it really focused on the driving itself. But we are not going to the track right now, so I'll show you the other option that you have, which is on the M hybrid mode. Because here, this is BMW taking the M5 PHEV idea to the next level. You can really customize how much assistance you want from the electric motor, depending on what you want to do with the car. In Dynamic Plus and Dynamic modes, it will use the electric motor for help, basically to propel you as quickly as you possibly can. Hybrid mode is the default. It will make the car behave like a proper hybrid. Let's call it that. In EV mode, you can then go for the whole 60 kilometers of EV range that you can get, and you can even set up the car to start in this mode so you don't wake up your neighbors with the V8. I don't know who would ever do that. And in E-Control, you can then save the battery for, as they've said, if you're about to go into a congestion area or something that you really want to drive it in a quiet manner, you can then save the battery for when you get to that spot. By going back then to the home button, you can then go into the apps screen, and then this is very usual BMW stuff. You can use the rotary knob to go through all the different options that you can have in here, and then a few other things specific to M cars that have to do with the lap timer. Straight away, we are ready to go into the track and show everything that the M5 can do. But just in order to cover what we also have here in front of the driver, the steering wheel has been modernized to this new that we have been expecting to see from BMW, where you can interact with media and your display on the spoke on the right, and through the left one you can then do your adaptive cruise solutions, which work flawlessly in this car. They are top of the industry, really good. They will help you change lanes, they will keep amazing distance and do everything in a very comfortable manner. And then the pedal shifters that you get here to interact with the gearbox. The one on the left side has the boost option, that if you hold it for a little while, it will unlock all the 1000 Newton meters of power for you to do a pass or a launch control and terrify everyone that is inside the car with you. And I think I get the impression that I will have quite a bit of fun doing that with Dave right now. So I think it's about time that we take this M5 for a drive. I promised I was going to give you a little bit of a fright, so we'll see how it is in boost mode and launch control. Oh. And this is what a 3.6 sprint to 100 looks like in a car that, if I didn't tell you it weighs 2.5 tons, you would never say.
No, actually almost 3 tons with that. But well, actually, no, I've just lost my lunch, so there's. God damn it, it's fast. It's EV fast, which most of you that have been behind an EV would know. It really is brutal and actually quite exciting, but it's also exciting on overtaking as well. So it does that same gut-wrenching thing when you're on the move and pull into boost and overtake, but then it just does this as normal.
So good. And yeah, you're right, it is the best of both worlds in the sense that, yes, this is a big engine with a turbocharger that allows for almost 600 horsepower of power alone, but that brings then lag, and that's where the electric motor then fills that gap to a point that you basically, by the time that the EV motor is starting to lose its way, then the V8 comes and takes over, and it is power for days.
Yeah, it's relentless. It just seems to just keep giving and giving and giving. It's kind of wasted a little bit in New Zealand, but it's, as we discussed before we got into it, it's autobahn power, and it feels like, because it's quite stoic on the road as well, so it feels like it would just go and go and go.
Absolutely. And with all this weight that comes with all the modules and all the different systems that are in here, it sort of masks its speed really well, which again just makes this the perfect autobahn weapon. You can cruise at speeds that we wouldn't even dare do here in New Zealand, and it barely breaks a sweat.
Absolutely. The other thing is its cornering, which we will find some corners in a while, but there is the talk that, again, 600 kilograms of extra weight is just awful for a performance vehicle, but it's somehow, because it's so low, it seems to mean that you can shift it around really well, and it just still hugs those big fat tires. The all-wheel steer just means that it just gets around corners like you would not believe.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, this is exactly what it is. You cannot sort of trick physics, right? With the added complexity and the weight, it feels maybe a little bit less athletic than the other M cars. Yeah, there's no way getting around it, but BMW have thrown the kitchen sink at it to make sure that it can perform even with all of these, let's call, compromises, because I don't think that they necessarily are. It is still befitting of what is expected of an M5.
It is, and it's got four-wheel drive, or you can actually tone it down with a rear wheel bias, but it's also, you can go two-wheel drive as well. So if you want to be crazy, and let's face it, if you have the opportunity, do that. But it's just got M from every area.
Yeah, the move to four-wheel drive, I think, was of course, given the fact that you still can go two-wheel drive, is the right move when you're dealing with this amount of power, because that's the only way that you can actually put this to the ground. And boy, does it do that. It is, you can see from the pull away how it looks so intense, because the car just jumps and goes.
It is brutal, and actually even more brutal when you're in the passenger seat, because you're not expecting it, and it just launches. The engine note is, even with those quad exhaust tips, quite removed, and also arguably the steering's a little bit removed. You are, I don't know, it's the modern car thing now, that there is a slight disconnect between the rawness of old school, no enhanced driving stuff, but what this comes with is plenty of enhanced driving stuff, so it will keep novices like me in one safe piece, which is, my family are quite happy with that. Actually,
you feel like a superhero driving this, right?
Yeah.
You can place the car anywhere despite its size, because there is just so much power available on tap at all times. The steering, yes, that's right. It is very detached, but extremely precise. And I think it suits the purpose of the car to a certain extent.
It does. Every time I talk, you're just putting your foot down. It's like, it increases my heart rate, which is just lovely. But as you know, for an old person like me, it's going to shock me. But when I drove it and I put my foot down when moving, it shocked me, because it just picked up in an absolute surprising way that I wasn't expecting, and then all of a sudden my smile came in, and it was just tremendous. Once I peed my pants a little bit.
I think that it's sort of the same experience that I got as well, that it is a car that sort of grows on you, right? Because I walked towards it with all the controversy that I've read and seen beforehand, because the car has been out for a little while. But the moment you drive it, as I said in the beginning, if you didn't tell me it weighs this much, I would have never said. It doesn't feel like a 1-ton car, but it doesn't feel like 2.5 tons either. And the added benefit that you get with all of this is that I've been driving in the M2 mode, that I put all the things to it. But if we flick it towards M1, it kills the V8, and it goes to comfort setting, and then everything is toned down. So it does the comfort thing much better than I anticipated as well. So,
and the fuel economy as well.
Of course.
If you have spent all your money on this 250 grand car, you'd probably be quite happy with it.
Yeah, that's right. In other M cars, such as M2, M3, at certain points, especially in roads like this one that we are right now, they can feel a little bit crashy and jarring. This is absolutely not the case here, despite the added weight, which was a very welcome surprise to me. because again, M5, a little bit more super saloon and supposed to be sporty. And what I loved as well, and I don't think we'll be able to pick up on the video, but it is now in electric mode. But the pumped audio, instead of being that sort of IX, very crazy Hans Zimmer kind of sound that they did, it sounds like the idol of a V8. And it is perfectly done. You probably have to sit inside of the car to pick up on it, but it makes the whole EV thing disappear around you, to the point that you would feel like you were driving just a regular V8 with all that luxury of the engine just doing that idling thing, of showing how much power it's got on tap, while still doing 0 liters to 100 at this moment, of course. But then, the thing that I like to do at this point, you can then bring the V8 back to life and do the thing it does best. It's so good.
That's because I'm about to talk, right? The other thing is just this display. The interior light, yes, it's kind of could be deemed as nightclubby and overdone, but I love the way that it's just embracing the M colors. You got the red, the blue, the lighter blue, and stuff like that. It really does give you so much brand identification. And the red seats are not for the ones that have a hangover, but then you shouldn't be driving with a hangover anyway. But it's just enjoyable and brand immersive.
So there you have it, the new G90 M5. And what a weapon this is.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You have to do your bit. And then
Okay. So there you have it, the new G90 M5. And what a weapon this car is. It manages to blend this V8 thing with the PHEV, all in a way that just makes sense. And the car is just so damn fast, so damn comfortable. And BMW are throwing everything that they know how to do best in here. And despite the weight and all the controversy, it just works.
Yeah, I mean, I'm living proof that weight is nothing. It's just a figure. Although I'm not as quick off the line as this. It's a magnificent car. I think it really embodies what the M5 is about. It's still got the healthy big V8 heart. It's still got plenty of room for as an executive vehicle as well, and even as a family vehicle, and just that brutal power. It's magnificent. I can't explain it more. You have to get in this car and give it a drive, because it is that good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. See you.